Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're joining us today in this live lecture coming to you from Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University. Today's date is a K market day in the Igbo lunar calendar, and in the Roman Catholic calendar, today's date is 7/28/2025. And remember, at Nkolo Mahadum, we always advise you to use your naturally given common sense, which we call akonuche in Igbo language. And also, we are set up to give you the right information, the right education, irrespective of the fact that majority of the information that we are still being fed up to today is still deceitful, colonial, misinformation, and disinformation. And that's why we package and present our lectures from the Igbo man, the Biafran and African perspective. That is, you see things from how it concerns you, not how it concerns other people. And therefore, we are encouraging you to like, comment, and share our lectures to your friends and well-wishers. And also, we also advise you to go back to all our previous lectures because they are all meant for you, so as to make the Igbo man, the Biafran and African great again for our own greatness. And the title of today's lecture is that Igbo, Biafran, and African leaders should change their styles and follow the ideas as presented in today's lecture. They should change all the ideas in their manifesto and program of events in our land in order to make the Igbo man, in order to make the Biafran and the African great again. Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University is a new university. It's not a gossiping center. It's where we research and present information to our people so that you can see the reality, you can receive the correct information. And who are the leaders in Igbo land? As we have these leaders in Igbo land and Biafra land, so also we have them across Africa. But specifically, this lecture goes to the governors in the Eastern region, the Southeast and South-South Development Commissions, Ohaneze Ndị Igbo. And why Ohaneze Ndị Igbo? Because it is Ohaneze Ndị Igbo's responsibility to go to other states like the North Central, where they carved the Igbos into, like in Benue, Taraba, and Kogi, to go and make sure that these changes are also implemented in those places. And another major player in our land is IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra. They are also stakeholders, the major stakeholders. Actually, they are the major stakeholders that everybody is listening to. So they are included as the people that will benefit from this lecture. Because if you dispute, if you say that IPOB shouldn't be included, then give the people a referendum. Let the people say whether IPOB should be included in those managing the affairs of our people or not. So IPOB is also part of these leaders in our land that should benefit from this lecture. And so we are saying this is an emergency request that all Biafran leaders, Igbo leaders, African leaders should change their style right now and follow the suggested ideas as part of their manifesto and program of events in our land so that we can be great again, so that the Igbo race can be great again. And the leaders we are referring to, as we have said before, are the governors in the Eastern region. You know, Eastern region includes the current Southeast and South-South. and then the Southeast and the South-South Development Commissions, Ohaneze Ndị Igbo, and IPOB. And the first thing every leader in our land should be doing is to provide security. Security should be the first on the list of any activity of any leader in our land, in Igbo land, in Biafra land, and in Africa. Give your people security, protect your people. The other day, on June 30th, 13 people from Ebonyi having meeting in Anambra State were killed. Everybody heard about it. And recently, on May 8th, 30 people were killed in Okigwe to Owerri Road in Imo State, as reported by Amnesty International. And every day you wake up, people are being killed in our land. Every day you wake up, many people are being killed across our land. So the first responsibility of anybody in leadership in our land is to provide adequate security for the people. If you cannot provide adequate security for our people, you better step down. There's no need that you are there, because while you are allowed to be there as a leader, the exchange is for you to provide security. The current colonial structure of security apparatus that we have in our land is for you as the leader to provide security for our people. And therefore, we are calling on you to provide this needed security that is eluding us in our land. The next thing, the second, is provision of agricultural food sufficiency. Why can't we? We have a lot of fertile lands across Biafra land, across Igbo land, across Africa. Why can't we be able to produce enough food for our people? Following the provision of enough food is to have our people produce the equipments, the farming tools needed in order for our people to go into the farm and produce enough food for our people, which will also include, when we are producing the food, it should also include the storage. How do we store this food? It is very, 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 very important, because a lot of our people are dying out of hunger. Because again, when you know you don't have to worry about food, when you know you have food in your house, it gives you now the chance to think. You cannot be able to reason. But when every day you are chasing after food, what to eat, you don't have food to eat, you are disorganized, from there. So it is very, very, very important. We at Nkolo do not know how to emphasize this issue of the provision of adequate food for our people. Why should it be difficult? We have the people, we have the resources, and we have the land. So why not? So it is important that you adhere, that you listen and follow all these recommendations as presented at Nkolo Wisdom University. The third item in the recommendation is the provision of free health care and medications to our people. Why can't we? When you provide security, provide food, provide free health care for our people, only these three alone will keep people alive. Only these three alone. And in the provision of this health care and medications, as we are following the foreign colonial one, we should also include our own local people. We have dibias that are in medical, we are medical professionals. We have people who also diagnose disease from our own local aspects, because no healthcare system is perfect. So as we are copying the colonial one, we should also include our own indigenous healthcare system and give people free choice, while the government makes sure that anyone is paid for, both the colonial one and the one from our indigenous ancestral practice is also paid for, so that people can have more choice. Anyone they want, they go to for that. And so the provision of health care and medications is very, 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 very important, because most of our hospitals are dead chambers. Many hospitals in our land, both the one owned by the government and the one owned by individuals, are dead traps. They are dead chambers. How many people goes in there and comes out alive? In what state do they come out of that hospital, for those that come out? But majority of the people that goes into those hospitals, we lose them. And so the provision of adequate and free health care and medications cannot be overemphasized in the manifesto, in the governmental programs, or anything that we are doing for our people in our land. The fourth recommendation is free or low-cost electricity. Free or low-cost electricity. This idea of giving our people electricity that is very, very expensive is not helping matters. Because how can they afford it? How can you provide something to our people that is not affordable? And therefore, the leaders should look into subsidizing and therefore providing free or low-cost electricity to our people. Because when you do that, it will increase economic activity and GDP will increase as a result. It will make sense for a welder or anybody using electricity to provide services or produce goods, manufacture goods, to sell it at a cheaper rate with free or low-cost electricity than the rate they will sell it with high cost of electricity. So it is very important. Plus, electricity helps also to increase health benefits, because you have fan in your house. Those that can afford AC will buy AC. You don't necessarily have to open your windows because you have either fan or AC in your house. So it kind of helps the health also. And therefore, it is very, very, very important that our leaders follow our recommendations one by one as stated in today's lecture. The fifth thing that our leaders should be doing is to close down all the foreign colonial religious centers, that is the foreign churches in our land. Because these churches are centers of exploitation and fake promise. They don't give anything to our people. They are using a book, the Bible, written 2,000 years ago, with falsehood and brainwashing our people and deceiving our people and exploiting our people. All those churches should be closed down so that our people can be free thinkers, and not where we have a system, a government that romances these foreign colonial churches that doesn't help anybody in our land. You should close them down so that people can go out to work, to the field, instead of spending most of their time in the churches where they are being lied to, They are being deceived. They are being exploited and given nothing in return. They should close them down. And the sixth recommendation is for our leaders to provide practical education to our people. The current colonial education we have in our land is theoretical. It's mainly theoretical and not practical. Our forefathers were practicing practical education. This practical education will help us to produce welders. We need more welders. We need more plumbers. We need more carpenters. It is the welders and the plumbers that will be building underground things that we need. Underground storage, underground warehouse, underground flyover, underground roads, underground gutters. It is these welders and plumbers. It's not theoretical something. It's practical. It is practical education will help us to build ships, build aeroplanes, build televisions, build so many things that we need to build. So we should move away from this theoretical education to practical education. This is very important. The whole world depends on what you can manufacture. Everything depends on what can you produce. That is very, very important. So we have to move away from the colonial to theoretical education to the practical, our indigenous, ancestral education. That's what we need to do. It is very important that we do that. Then the seventh thing we have to do, the seventh recommendation, because these recommendations are emergency recommendations. We need them right now so that we can be great again like our forefathers. The seventh recommendation is the reintroduction of the Republican democracy of our forefathers and ancestors. That's our Republican democracy does not require all these colonial structures and institutions. No, it is by appointment. Our ancestors have already mapped out our villages, our communities, our towns, and if you want to do things together, it's done by appointment. You don't have to do any election. You don't have to rig any election because there's none. It is cheap, doesn't cost money. The foreign colonial democracy that we are practicing in Africa and in our land right now is very expensive, controlled by oligarchs, billionaires that have money. They are the one controlling the leaders. They're the one that financing the election. We don't need that in our land. That's why we should go back to the Republican democracy as was given to us by our ancestors and our forefathers. It is very important because this idea of spending money given to you by somebody else to run for election, and when you enter into that office, the person that sponsors you will be the one telling you what to do and not the people. It's not beneficial to our people. It's not that beneficial to Igbo people, to the Biafrans and the Africans in general. It's not. So let us move back and do away with this colonial democracy that we are practicing. The eighth suggestion is the building of infrastructures, continuous building of infrastructures, roads, railways, seaports, airports, and so on and so forth. If not, why not? The building of these infrastructures will give our people jobs. It will also increase economic activity. And it will make life more easier for our people. And it will help us to compete with other people in the world. And so, building of infrastructure is not negotiable. So if you are a governor or in the Southeast Development Commission and you are building roads or anything, railway or airport, whatever you are building, That is your job to do. It is not a favor. You are not doing us a favor. By carrying out those projects, you are not doing us a favor. You are doing your job because all the resources are concentrated in your hand. And that is why we should move away from this foreign democracy, where our resources is concentrated in the hand of a few. And therefore, we need you to humbly be providing all the infrastructures that we need in Igbo land, in Biafra land, in Africa, to make our people competitive, to make our people equal. And don't even bring foreigners to do that. It is better you use our people. Because when you bring foreigners to do that, foreigners already know where you have those things. They already know. So if there's any war or any disagreement, they will come to bomb those things that you have. But when you have your people doing these roads, railways, and roads, and seaports, and some other things that you want to be producing in your land, your people are doing it. We know where they are. The foreigners will not have the advantage to come and find it and destroy it at their own will. So it is very, very, very important. And because of time, we want to stop here. All the people that we have mentioned in this lecture as the leaders of the Igbo race, of the Biafrans and Africans, and we are saying specifically the governors of the old Eastern region, Southeast and South-South, the Southeast and South-South Development Commissions, Ohaneze Ndị Igbo. Why Ohaneze Ndị Igbo? Because Ohaneze Ndị Igbo is the one now to go to other states where they carve Ndị Igbo into, in the North Central, Taraba, Benue, and Kogi, and make sure that the governments of those people are doing the same thing for the Igbo local governments in their states. If they don't want to follow the recommendations here, they have to do that for the people, our people, that we are carved in their state, because they are our people. And then the last and not the least organization is IPOB. IPOB also should benefit from this lecture, because IPOB is a stakeholder. It's a stakeholder in our land. If you dispute that, give the people referendum to know whether they accept IPOB or not. So, and we are saying that we have listed 8 items that every governor, every Southeast and South-Side Development Commission, or Ohaneze and IPOB should follow to save the life of our people. Because our people are suffering, our people are dying, our people are running away. And we are saying that number 1 is the provision of security. Because the other day, in Anambra State, 13 people from Ebonyi State were murdered in cold blood. Also, the other day, on May 8th, about 30 people of our people were killed in Okigwe to Owerri Road in Imo State. And any day you wake up, it's either Fulani herdsmen killing, or kidnappers killing, or criminals killing, or even security forces. Sometimes they kill. There's a lot of death here and there. And therefore, the job of every leader in our land is to provide security. Number 1 is the provision of security. If you cannot provide security, my friend, step down from that your position. Step down. Then number 2 is the provision of agricultural food sufficiency. Many of our people are dying out of hunger. And when our people are able to feed themselves, to eat, they cannot be able to think, to do other things, and not worry about what to eat the next hour. And in this provision of food, there are the chains, both the chains of production, chains of storage, and chains of selling the agricultural products. And all this should be done by our people to create employment for our people. And the third suggestion is the provision of free health care and medications. And this free health care should include both the foreign one and the local indigenous one. You cannot push our local indigenous one by the side, because no health care is perfect. And the government should be able to be paying for all this health care and medications for our people. Most of the hospitals owned by the government and individuals in our land are death chambers. Many go in there and never come back. So any government that is not responsible, that is not seeing what is going on in our land, should also step down. And the fourth recommendation is the provision of low-cost electricity. Either free or low-cost electricity to our people. Because you cannot have this high rate of electricity on our people and expecting the poor to afford it, and expecting many to afford it. Many cannot afford it. And therefore, the government should subsidize electricity in our land. Because when you do that, when people are able to afford it, when it is low, it will increase, it will propagate, it will make economic production to be faster in all ramifications. And when that is when that is produced, whether services or products, and then the ultimate consumer will get it at a cheaper rate than a higher electricity tariff. The fifth recommendation is to regulate or close down all the foreign colonial religious centers, the churches in our land, because they are centers of exploitation, fake promise, and they are deceiving our people. Some of them say they cure disease. Some of them say they will give you a visa. Some of them say they will, Jesus will do this and for you. Nobody does anything for anybody. They give you fake promise. We don't need that. They should be closed down so that our people can be free thinkers. How can you be using a book written 2,000 years ago? A book written 2,000 years ago to deceive our people, and you are allowed to operate in our land. So they should be closed down. And then the sixth recommendation is the provision of practical education. Practical education is what everybody is using. Do away with this colonial theoretical education, because it's not leading us anywhere. We have done that for how many years now? Every society, every culture that is moving ahead in this world uses practical education. And we have said that pay more attention to welders, practical schools for welders, for electricians, for plumbers. These are the engineers we need to build all the tunnels we need, all the storage centers that we need, all the bridges that we need. These are the people that will build it. We don't need all this theoretical education from the colonial master that is not helping us. And therefore, the provision of practical education is important in our land. The seventh suggestion is the reintroduction of the Republican democracy given to us by our ancestors, our forefathers, because it is more effective, more result-oriented, without no rigging, without no falsehood, than the current foreign colonial structures and democracy that put our resources in the hands of few people. All our resources are concentrated in the hands of few people. We don't need it. And they have excessive power. And they're not answerable to the people. Instead, they are answerable to their donors, those that put them in power. the oligarchs, the billionaires, the rich people that put them in power. Those are the people that they are listening to, not to the masses. We don't need that in our land. And finally, number 8, building of infrastructures, roads, railways, seaports, airports, and so many other things that we need, bridges, so many other things that we need in our land. Building it is not a favor to our people. It is your responsibility because our resources is concentrated in your hands. And except IPOB, which is not government funded, because Ohanes and Igbo themselves, I think they are paid by the governors. That's why they are toothless. That's why they can't do anything. IPOB managing herself the way they are managing herself now, there's no government money. They don't control any money from our land. And we're just calling them here to participate because they are a stakeholder in our land. And nobody can dispute that. And we're saying, if you can dispute that, conduct a referendum. And so these are the 8 suggestions. It is emergency suggestions from what is going on in our land. A lot of killings, a lot of people dying out of hunger and lack of medical care, lack of electricity. All these are leading to deaths. And the churches, the foreign colonial churches, are also killing our people directly or indirectly by promising them false hope, giving them false information, deceiving them. They are also indirectly killing our people. And the provision of practical education, Republican democracy into our system, and building of infrastructure, all this will make us to be great again. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. But before we do, we have to encourage all Africans to stand up to dismantle all the colonial boundaries in Africa. Because if we cannot go to Europe and say, you are one country, you are one country, why should we allow them to come to our land to tell us how to live? And these artificial boundaries they created in Africa are the sources of poverty, sources of war, sources of migration, sources of hatred and tribalism, and killings, and deaths, and brainwashing that we're having in our land. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. Please, thank you very much for joining me. Another lecture is coming on. There was an interview granted to Jeffrey Sachs, which I also want you to listen to so that you will understand the world we live in. Because here at Nkola Mahadum, we want to be using things that are happening across the world to also be educating you so that you will be seeing things by yourself and use your akonuche to know how we can survive from this dangerous world. And with this, we shall bring in today's lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining me today, and have a very, very good one. Thank you. Have a good one.